so excited that you guys are here tonight. Welcome to week 5 of our Masterclass. So I wanted to say for a second, I'm super proud of all of you for hanging in there and coming through 6 weeks. I know that that is a huge commitment to your health overall. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit so far. And I think the next couple weeks are really going to be some tangibles that you get to take away. And so I'm going to skip a recap from last week if that's okay with you guys. And I'm going to dive right into things. And so I wanted to read something to you here. You awaken from sleeping on a mattress that is coated with flame-retardant chemicals, emitting formaldehyde gas and a carcinogenic brominated substance, which your body readily absorbs all night. Drinking water from a plastic bottle on your nightstand, you instead hydrate your body with phthalates that cause cancer and infertility. Walking barefoot toward the bathroom on the synthetic carpet, your skin absorbs benzene, styrene, and several other cancer-causing chemicals used to treat the carpet. Once in the bathroom, you splash your face with tap water laced with fluoride and chlorine, both carcinogens to the human body. You open a plastic bottle of Listerine mouthwash or other similar brands and gargle half a dozen flavor and coloring chemicals. You pick up your cancer-causing fluoride crest toothpaste full of all kinds of toxic ingredients, including titanium dioxide, aspartame, and artificial coloring. You raise your arms and apply deodorant, which contains 7 chemicals, including aluminum, parabens, a hormone-disrupting preservative, propylene glycol, a lubricant and suspected cancer agent, carcinogenic phthalates to hold fragrance and color, and 100 different chemicals disguised under the name fragrance. According to the FDA, we average using 9 personal care products daily containing about 126 chemical ingredients. Body lotions contain penetration-enhancing chemicals that can drive toxins from other toiletries deeper into your flesh. Finally, you pull out numerous prescription medications with warning labels attached and swallow this mixture of synthetic chemicals, nobody in this room, and then you pee it out into the toilet and ultimately back into the tap water for others to unwittingly drink. Municipal water sources do not test or filter for medications in tap water. All the while, you have been breathing benzene fumes capable of causing leukemia from the deodorizer you installed under the commode seat lid. Walking back into the bedroom, you put on clothes fresh from the dry cleaner, rife with fumes and residues of trichloroethylene and N-hexane, chemicals known to cause nerve cell damage, memory loss, cardiac abnormalities, and cancer. If your clothing is made of synthetic fibers, your plastic clothes expose you to plasticizer fumes, for which you get a double bonus of breathing it in and having it soak onto your skin. You and your child's clothes also likely contain flame-retardant chemicals that are notorious releasers of toxic bromine fumes. These block your thyroid function and make you tired and fat. The more tightly insulated your bedroom, the greater the outages of gas collection from your furniture, paint, rugs, and carpets. And the greater impact on your brain with symptoms like mood swings, feelings of spaciness, headaches, and inability to concentrate. Rushing to the kitchen, you pour yourself a quick bowl of cereal containing genetically modified corn or soy, high fructose corn syrup which contains heavy metals, and nearly a dozen synthetic chemical food additives. While eating, you turn on your dishwasher and expose yourself to a cloud of chlorine fumes. You fix yourself a sandwich for lunch with luncheon meat that contains nitrates, synthetic hormones, and antibiotics. You coat your aluminum-tainted bread with mayonnaise that is made with genetically modified soybean oil. Then you wrap the sandwich in saran wrap, which contains vinyl chloride, a carcinogen known to cause liver, brain, and lung cancers, and is one of the deadliest man-made materials. You throw a Diet Coke in for your lunch, which contains a deadly sweetener, aspartame, linked to cancer, headaches, allergies, and seizures. You don't even question the safety of Diet Coke because you've been drinking it for decades. Barely into the first hour of your day, you haven't even left your house, and you've been absorbing hundreds of synthetic chemicals. You haven't even walked outside yet. And so right now, we are in the greatest environmental assault when it comes to chemicals that we've ever lived in. And by listening to that might be a little discouraging. Because I know the first time that I started to dive into all of this, I thought it was a little bit discouraging. But I want you to know that that only highlights the importance for minimizing as much as we can when it comes to toxicity within our environment and within our lives. If you can kind of get on board with that, say aye. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And so when it comes to the top toxins we have to worry about, number 1 is going to be in our personal care products. Number 2 is in our household products. Number 3 is in our water. And number 4 is within our food. And so it comes from pesticides and GMOs, and that's what we're going to dive into. There are no fill in the blanks for today. I will go through the papers that I gave out to you just in a little bit here. So when it comes to our personal care products, what do I need? I need everything from your body wash, your shampoo, conditioner, your tampons, your makeup, anything that you put on your hair, your soap, all of those things that you use on a regular basis. Your household products are not just your cleaners, but the things you store and cook your food in. And so the things that you're surrounded by every single day, including the air fresheners that you use, the cleaners that you use within your toilet, the plastics that surround yourself on a daily basis within your life. We have to start to think of all of these things. We're going to talk about the danger of tap water. We're going to talk about pesticides and GMOs, which are so prevalent within our food system. And of course, we're going to give you some answers. And so just to name a few of the toxic chemicals that we see within our lives, within, generally speaking, personal care products, you have parabens. So parabens are very frequently found in makeups, lotions, and hair care. They are carcinogenic and they're endocrine disruptors. You have propylene glycol, which by the way is the ingredient, it is antifreeze. And so antifreeze is found in your lotion, your sunscreen, your makeup, your hair products, linked to kidney failure, liver dysfunction. You have sodium lauryl sulfate, which we already talked about, which is kind of a latherer, makes things soapy overall. It's found in 90% of all personal care products that you find on the shelf in some place like Walmart or Target. You have your toluene, phthalates, BPA, and then synthetic colors and DEA. All of these things found in so many products that you find on the shelves. I do have a list of 50 products or 50 ingredients that I'm going to email to you. I also have a list when we get into the detoxes. I'm going to give you resources to be able to actually do those detoxes. You will get all of that emailed to you. I just wanted to give you the things that I wanted to give you that we got printed, but I think a lot of those things you guys can have in your email and just kind of look at them. As I started going through and changing my personal care products and even modifying the food that I was eating and buying, the best thing to do is bring your phone with you and Google. So if you're not sure about something, Google the ingredient. When it comes to personal care products, it's hard because everything looks foreign. And so I think ewg.org, we've talked about that a couple times. That's a great resource for you. You can look up all of your products and they categorize them. They have like EWG certified, which means like it's the cleanest of the clean, which is 10 products in the whole world. And then they categorize them like A, B, C, D. And so I try to stay within the A's. Some of the things I use are in the B's, and that's what I try to do overall. And so in our food, you'll find things like MSG, Red 40, butane, RBGH, sodium nitrate, BHT, sulfites, refined oils, aspartame, and sodium benzoate. And so I can tell you off the top of my head, MSG is a neurotoxin. Red 40, aspartame, and sodium benzoate are all proven to cause cancer. And so sodium benzoate is a preservative, aspartame is a sweetener, MSG is just highly addictive. And so I don't actually know what it does except stimulates your brain to make you want more. There's a lot of MSG in like Chinese food, and so you have to be careful with MSG being added. I think that there might have used to have been MSG in like Doritos and stuff too, which explained why back in the day you couldn't put a bag of those down, right? So it's still there. Oh, is it? So I thought maybe they had changed it, but that's why foods can become addictive when you look at it. And so why do a lot of these things matter? One of the biggest reasons that these things matter is a lot of them end up being estrogen mimickers. An estrogen mimicker means it is of course not a molecule of estrogen, but it ends up being able to lock in to the same receptor that estrogen is supposed to go into. And so what the body then senses is it senses too much estrogen within the body. And when you get too much estrogen, when you have an estrogen dominance, that's linked to many cancers. And it's also linked to fertility issues, to menopausal issues, menstrual issues. All kinds of things can happen when you're estrogen dominant overall. Inability to lose weight. And of course, that can throw off all other hormones in your body. When I think of hormones like an orchestra. Can you imagine if there was one violin in an orchestra that was not tuned? Do you think you could hear it? Yeah. one instrument gets out of whack, one hormone gets out of whack, and it's a cascade effect to everything else. And so xenoestrogens is the biggest thing that you have to worry about. Most people who have hormone issues end up being estrogen dominant. That's not everybody, it's just most people. And so when we look into the handouts that I gave you today, the couple of things that we need to do, I gave you what can I eat, and so this is just a list, a quick list for you of the carbohydrates that you want to eliminate, the carbs that you want to eat in moderation, and the carbs that you want to enjoy in high amounts. And so it gives you kind of a list of things, and this is not necessarily an all-inclusive list, but it will help. It also gives you the fats to eliminate and the fats and proteins to enjoy. On the next page, it shows you the world's best detox. I love when people say, Dr. Elise, I want a detox, where do I start? Starts with your food, guys. And so there's no point of detoxing if you're gonna fuel your body with bad things. And so you cannot supplement yourself out of a bad diet. And so it starts with the way that you're treating your body. It starts with getting adjusted, sleeping well. Your body detoxes while you're sleeping, and drinking a ton of water. And so if you can do those things, now we can start talking about advanced detoxification. The thing that probably most people in this room have not done yet is also doing a makeover. And in this packet here, I gave you a pantry and home makeover of what you can go home and do for yourself. And so you can go home and ask yourself these questions, and you can eliminate things in your pantry. You can eliminate things in your bathroom so that we can start to use great products overall. When I talk with people, I understand the want to hold on to things that you've purchased. But I want to suggest to you, you are worth it. Throw it all out. It's the only time you're ever going to do it in your entire life. Go donate it to people that perhaps don't have an option and could use anything. But treat yourself. Go home and throw out the crap in your pantry. Go home and throw out the bad stuff in your bathroom. Don't wait until you're done with it just because it was expensive. Go out and find the good things that you want. Some of you are giving me that look because you're like, yeah, right, Dr. Elise, I'm going to use everything that I have. But I suggest you not to do that. As a woman, and I'm sure that this pertains to some men in the room as well, but as a woman, I can see how maybe personal care products are a little bit harder because you just want to find something that really fits like what you're used to with your, hair product or your blush or something like that, and I get that. But we can start to make small changes in a lot of things that you won't notice a difference in. Last week, I heard somebody walking in, and they said, I didn't know what was in that tiny container. I didn't know if it was like lotion or what. That was toothpaste. So hopefully you guys smelled it and realized it was toothpaste and didn't put it all over your face. But anybody try? Yeah, anybody try the toothpaste? I'm sorry we didn't tell you. Anybody think it was any different than normal toothpaste? No. So easy switch, right? So there are some things that are going to be super easy, like your toothpaste, and we're going to go through in a second why toothpaste is an important thing to switch over. And then when we talk about advanced detoxification, you can talk about doing like a water fast, a bone broth fast, a juice fast, intermittent fasting. We're going to talk more about fasting next week. One of the things I want to point out about next week is it's called the fitness plan, but fitness is not exercise. Like when you talk about Charles Darwin, he said survival of the fittest. Like we're going to talk about how to be fit. And so fit is not just exercise, it's putting together a fitness plan for you that's going to build on what we do this week, which will talk about exercise and movement, but we're going to talk about things like fasting, etc. Doing a liver kidney cleanse, infrared sauna, coffee enemas, IV vitamins. These are all things that you can talk to me about if you're interested in them. But again, you got to do the first 5 things on that list, and you have to be able to look me in the eyeballs and tell me you're doing them 100% for me to talk to you about the rest of them. Got it? So you guys can go through the pantry and home makeover. You can go through the bathroom makeover. Here on the bathroom makeover, I give you my brands that I like for tampon, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, face wash, perfume, all kinds of things. If you don't like what's on there and you try it and you're like, that doesn't work for me, ask me. I can give you probably a dozen other in each category. I just gave you my personal favorite brands. I also gave you the brands that I like when I'm craving carbs. For salad dressing, what I use, just some ideas, the chocolate that we love to eat. So just some ideas. I made a banana bread with chocolate chips last night, and it was delicious. And so the chocolate brand that I use on there, and I also gave you kind of where I find some of those things too. And then I gave you some cleaning supplies here. And so these are the cleaning supplies that I generally use in my my home, I'll tell you that every single one of these on here is in the A category. I didn't give you the B category things. In the office, we're B when it comes to our Myers products. They're not the worst, but they're not the best, I'll be honest with you. They're just easily accessible. And so there's probably better things we can do, and I'm gonna promise you guys that I'm going to try to do better things for our office, because I think we should set a good example. But these are some good cleaning supplies that you can look into as well that should be pretty easily accessible. When it comes to brands of cleaning supplies and personal care products, I wanna point out that you cannot say a brand is clean. And so unfortunately, something like the 7th generation dishwasher detergent, it's totally clean, but it doesn't mean that everything 7th generation you buy at Target is clean. You just have to look up what you're buying and find the brands and the type of product that fits in with what we want to accomplish overall. Is that cool? So a lot of great stuff for you guys to go through. I challenge you to make this like your 2020. We have 2 months left in 2020. I challenge you to make this your big thing that you do in 2020. Switch over all of your personal care products and all of your household products. It's not hard, it's fun. The other thing that you have here is EWG's Guide to Healthy Cleaning. And so this I printed out for you because I wanted you to see that there's some like DIY alternatives that you can make, like some vinegar-based cleaners. My brother at home was saying that he knows somebody who like steeps orange and lemon in vinegar, and apparently that totally takes away the vinegar smell, and it's just that, and they're able to make a cleaner out of that. So that kind of stuff exists, and I'm going to be looking into that a little bit further as well. So thank you for the motivation. The very last thing that I gave you here, this is probably the most exciting. I hope you guys will join me with a 28-day challenge. And so we can decide whether or not we want to, I'd say we start this challenge next week. That way you guys get a week to like mull it over and tell me that you're all in on it. But the 28-day challenge, the first part of it is just for you to write down why you're doing it. That way you can come back when things get tough to get it done. And then the actual challenge is over here on that second sheet. It tells you exactly what to do. It outlines the advanced plan, which is cutting out all grains and all sugars. Dr. T is going to go through that here tonight. I promise you, if you can follow this 100% for the next 28 days, whenever you start it, you will see a big change in weight, in energy. And I don't just say losing weight. Some people need to gain weight. It will help you to be the weight that you're supposed to be. Weight, energy, sleep, chronic pain, inflammation, all of this will help with that. And so you can kind of read through that, and we can maybe talk about who's interested in doing it with me. When it comes to Thanksgiving, I will give you all of the recipes that you need to be able to get through Thanksgiving and still do the 28-day challenge. And so anybody come to our dinner on Wednesday night? Yeah, and so did you guys get the recipes that we sent out? So there's some in there already that you can try. And so hopefully you're getting together with some other people, and they might bring over the bread and the stuffing and the bad stuff, but you're gonna bring over the good stuff, and you're gonna make sure that you eat just that stuff. And so it is possible to get through the holidays and still eat good food overall. So I know that was kind of a lot. Any questions about this stuff before we move on? No? Awesome. All right. So I want to talk about pots and pans, because there are some hidden things that you would have never thought of. So how many people in here know that your nonstick pans are bad for you? Yeah, so about 50% of the people. Who in here still has nonstick pans? Yeah. Okay, so let's try to change some minds on that. And so Teflon, hugely toxic. Teflon is linked to infertility, it's linked to cancer, it's linked to testicular and mammary gland tumors. Okay, and so Teflon, hugely toxic, so bad for you. Anything that heats up, okay? So this is like, and I do it, I'm not perfect on all of this, so please allow me to be the messenger and don't necessarily judge me. But your Starbucks cups that they put hot drinks into, leach stuff into your drink. When you use plastic containers, like your Tupperware at home that's plastic, when you put hot food into that container, it heats it up and it leaches toxins into your food. And so I use glass containers. I've made that switch. And then what I try to do is the top is still plastic on my glass containers. So I wait for the food to completely cool, and then I put the plastic on and I put it into the refrigerator. But just understand that anything that heats up that's coming into contact with your food, it must be clean. That includes your pots and pans. And so PFOA is the toxic chemical that's within Teflon. And it says that it has the potential to be a health concern because it can stay in the environment and the human body for long periods of time. Studies show that almost every single person worldwide has low levels of this within their body. One study that I didn't include in here is an environmental working group study. It looked at umbilical cord blood. So babies that haven't even had their first breath of air yet, and it found something like 168 carcinogens, neurotoxins, and chemicals in umbilical cord blood. So we are all toxic sitting here. From day one, you have a toxic load, which is why it's so important to minimize that toxic load overall. Pfoa can affect development, reproduction, and injure the liver. The CDC says it. Liver, kidneys, all affected by that. And so with your pots and pans, what I use, I love cast iron. So I have a cast iron griddle, I have a big cast iron pan, I have a little cast iron pan. Everything else I own is stainless steel. So one of the things you might want to go home and do in 2020, maybe ask for Christmas from somebody, if maybe there's somebody to give it to you, or gift it to each other, is some new pots and pans. And so no Teflon anymore, no nonstick. Any questions? My dad uses ceramic. Ceramic's a little bit harder. You have to use it at a little bit less heat. So that's why ceramic's not the best overall. I mean, it's great. It's just if you want to like sit there and wait for a while. By the way, I think I told this to you guys, but maybe you want to throw out your microwave. I don't have this in here, but I had 2 team members who just started, and they said, hey, can we have a microwave? Can I bring a microwave in? And I said, no. Alondra's laughing back there because she's like, I have a microwave, I can bring it in. And I'm like, I know, but it's just like this internal struggle because I know a microwave's not good for you, so I can't do that for you. So now we have a toaster oven. And so I'm teaching them. I haven't used a microwave. I kid you not. Our lady comes, she cleans our house twice a month, and she's like, you guys have the cleanest microwave. I'm like, yeah, because we don't use it. Like, can you clean the toaster oven though? So, but the toaster oven is what we use, and everything heats up in the toaster oven just fine. So we use the stove in the toaster oven. It takes 5 minutes longer, but the longer you do it, you don't miss it anymore. It's just because it's something that's within your habits and you're not used to it. But I implore you to just try. The toaster oven that I got, there's super expensive ones. You don't need a super expensive one. They have $40 ones. I think I got like a $70 one just to get a middle of the road one. But they have great toaster ovens out there that are super inexpensive. I think I used probably a $40 one for a really long time when I was in college. So, storage containers, cans, and packaged foods. There is a study that looked at over 2,000 people and showed that if you eat soup for 5 days in a row, you have 1,221% increase BPA urine levels. And so BPA, xenoestrogen, really bad. Causes things to go wrong within your body, okay? And so you want to, everybody's heard BPA free, like you want to go with BPA free. So you have to be careful with that within anything plastic that you're consuming and also within your cans. And so again, this comes back to even storage containers, even plastic wrap. I still have plastic wrap and aluminum foil, but I really try not to use them. I even have stainless steel pans. And again, I know it's a pain in the butt because you can't take your aluminum foil off and just have your clean pan, but it's worth it for your health overall. And so that's what we kind of want to move towards. Any questions? Yep.
Cleaning stainless steel.
It's not as hard as you think it is. So you have to be one of those like proactive cookers where like you take it, you're done with it, and you put it in water. And I just let water. I have steel wool, is that what it's called? So we use that and just soak it in water, and as long as you clean it right away and you don't wait a little bit, it's pretty easy to clean overall. Yeah, and then stainless steel, you don't want to turn it all the way up either, because if you turn it all the way up, it's going to stick. And so you have to use it at lower temperatures, and you just kind of have to get to know the cookware, which is kind of why I love cast iron. I think you can make anything on cast iron, and you don't have to worry about sticking or anything like that. You don't wash cast iron, just so you guys know. It's seasoned, and so you take it and you like wipe it out, and then you put oil in it, so you don't actually wash cast iron. All right, let's talk about water. So in your water, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but in your unfiltered tap water, the biggest thing is chlorine. And so chlorine undergoes these chemical reactions and forms chloroform. Anybody heard that? Not good. And trihalomethane. And so chloroform and trihalomethane are linked to, again, all kinds of reproductive issues and liver and kidney and just damage within the body overall. And so we want to make sure that we're doing filtered water. I'll also tell you fluoride is a good one to touch on. Does anybody in here realize that fluoride is outlawed in Germany and France and Denmark and Sweden? Like, they don't fluorinate their water. We fluorinate our water. And we fluorinate our water because at one point somebody said, I think it will help to reduce cavities within our mouths. And so whether or not that's true, it also affects your pineal gland and it affects your body overall. And so high levels of fluorination within your water cause health issues to happen. And so we really don't want to be drinking the fluorinated city water overall. This was a study that was done in USA Today. Hey, Dr. Ryan, do you mind putting it up a little bit? We're freezing some people. I'm warm when I speak. So, but the USA Today looked at water systems across the U.S. So 2,000 water systems across the U.S. and found 350 of those who provided water to schools or daycares had high levels of lead. 180 of those water systems did not notify them that was going on. And so there's really no safe level of lead exposure. You never know what you're getting in your water. I'll also tell you that, again, people who are dumping prescription medications down the toilet, all of that gets into the water system and all of that comes back through your tap water overall. You have to be careful with your water. I said this to you guys last week, so I looked it up. So you use on average 25 gallons of water when you're showering. And so your body repels about 75% of that and absorbs the other 25%. And so if you take a 15-minute shower, you're consuming on average about 8 cups of water within that shower. And so if you have all of that lead and prescription medications and whatever else, it's chlorine and all those things are floating around in your water, even if you're not drinking it, it's coming into your body overall. And so well worth it to look into a water system for your house. Again, reverse osmosis is the best type of water system. You can get an under the sink one so that you just get drinking water out of it. The water from your refrigerator is toxic. I'm sorry. I know, it broke my heart too when I found out. And so it's good to get